It's using other people to do its bidding. That anniversary is a day that it's heightened to perform a ritual.
From the dawn of the spoken word, storytelling has been the backbone of human culture, warning of looming dangers and evoking our most personal fears. What you're about to hear are the real-life experiences of everyday people, brave enough to share their terrifying tales. Tales where the horror hits close to home. I'm your host, Danny. Welcome to the Hometown Horrors Podcast. Listen if you dare.
This is called Cabin on 360, and this is a small log home on the outskirts of Richmond, sitting on a little over 7 acres of straight woods. While we were here at Cabin on 360, we experienced a lot of shit that we thought was just movies, fantasy, fiction, and it got really real.
So the property itself is a modular home or a modular cabin that they have set up as like a
demonstration model.
Home.
Yeah, like demonstration purposes of like, hey, you want to buy one of these? We'll build it. And then there is a ranch style home on the property as well. 2 separate addresses, but they're right next to each other. And behind them is literally woods.
7+ acres of woods.
And in the woods, there was a Civil War battle. Either it was Union soldiers or Confederate soldiers. It was an ambush. And I think it was 400 men died in a split second. So the blood that would have ran through where the battle had taken place would have stopped in the creek in the middle of these woods.
400 freaking people.
Just washed into that river.
Washed into that river. So the rancher, you can actually live in. And the family that lived in that house, one of them had a kid prior in a separate marriage. They get married, they move into this house, they have another kid together. One morning, parents are not home, kids get ready for school. The brother raped and murdered his sister. At the time, the owners of the property who run the events now, they use the property for their construction business. Some of the workers that were there saw the gentleman dragging a body, putting it into a refrigerator box. Notified the police. The gentleman stole a car from the next door neighbors. He took off, fled to North Carolina where he was apprehended, and he was given a life sentence for murdering his sister.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
And by gentleman, he's talking about a 17-year-old, the brother.
Yeah, he was 17 of
at the
11-year-old girl. So now it's just a commercial lot. Same thing goes for the cabin as the rancher. It's commercial. So it was used as a business. The only business that I know of was a Animal Treats bakery. The lady who had the Animal Treats bakery inside the cabin, perfectly normal, perfectly sane woman, one night, she was brought to the cabin, takes a bunch of medication of some sort, went to the bathroom, slit her wrists, and just stood there letting the blood run. Her friend couldn't find her, called the cops, take her to the hospital. She says she has no recollection of why she went there, why she did that. 2 weeks before we actually went, caretaker of the property, he called me and he asked me, he said, hey, how well do you know the guys that are in your group? I said, pretty well. I grew up with most of them childhood friends. He's like, okay, well, I need you to pay attention to their personalities. Keep a close eye on them.
That's a terrifying statement.
And you
if they start
told
acting weird, you might need to get them the fuck out of there.
Right. And I only told
me
him because I didn't want to like put that in somebody's mind. Right.
Exactly.
And it really alarmed me because I had a prior experience in Ohio where something like that occurred. But okay, whatever. So he said, something inside of this rancher inside the basement is not human. Just be cautious. So the first night, we've got new equipment and everything set up. We're sleeping inside of here. We've booked it for 2 days. So we've got the security cameras inside the cabin where we're sleeping. We focus half of the night in the cabin. We focus the other half in the rancher. In the cabin, we had a couple of cool things occur. We had gotten on the Ovilus.
So an Ovilus is a device.
Imagine you have a word bank, and each individual word that you have loaded onto this word bank is set to a specific frequency. So like I'm here is frequency X and frequency Y.
So essentially it's like a speak and spell for the beyond.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can hit those
picking
buttons.
a frequency and setting the word.
Yes.
That's the theory behind it.
But what I will say is that there is no such thing as ghost hunting equipment.
Just presenting a tool for something to interact with.
Exactly.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's up to each person's interpretation on whether or not they want to believe that it is actually a spirit talking. So the way that we do things is we utilize multiple tools. They have to connect together in order for it to be something substantial, right?
Check both those boxes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we get on the Ovilus, it says Lady of the Night. So we were told about the cabin that it was used for a brothel at one point in time. We go over to the rancher. Me, Bullard, Travis, Clayton, and Dan. Clayton got really apprehensive. When we went down into the basement, he was like really closed off. Let's get him out of here. And the Ovilus starts saying like 4 a.m. William, which is Clayton's real name. Maybe we should take Clayton and just put Clayton inside the rancher. Well, because we're good people, we're like, let's not put him alone. So let's have him go wander around the house. Let's have Dan go with him. Travis is passed out at this point, right? And me and Bullard stay behind and just observe what's going on in the cabin. And if they need us, we're there. So Clayton and Dan, they go over to the rancher and nothing is happening. But while we're over at the cabin, me and Bullard, we're observing the security cameras. The Ovilus says 43. Now, this goes back to the whole 1920, 15, 16. It's like programmed my mind to like decipher shit. 43. Let me do the math. We were literally a month away from the 43-year anniversary from the day that the guy murdered his sister.
Ooh. Synchronicity.
Synchronicities. Here we go, right? That's basically all that occurred the first night. So we wake up early in the morning, get a phone call from the caretaker. Hey, you guys remember when I was doing the walkthrough, I told you there was a girl who in the rancher had a personal experience with whatever this thing is in the basement. She saw it. She drew a picture of it. There was another team that had a FLIR camera, which is like a
heat-seeking.
Yeah, like a
not heat-seeking, but thermal.
They captured this image of this creature on thermal camera, and it's the same entity that this girl drew. He's like, yeah, so she called me, and she said she's in town, actually, and she wants to know if she can come by the cabin.
Synchronicity number 2.
So I'm like, yeah, we didn't really have much go on the first night, so her name is Cameron. Her and her boyfriend comes over, tells us about her experience. She's like, I haven't been back here since that happened. And we ask her, are you willing to come back tonight? See if we can't use you as a trigger object. And she said, yeah, sure.
And she just happened to be in town.
She grew up right down the road.
Yeah.
Okay, so she might have just been there.
She was local for sure.
When she went there the first time, it was just kind of like
she
an
was like
event.
15, 16.
Just kind of a let's go here.
Exactly.
Local event, let's mess around.
And
Exactly.
she was saying that, this thing was not nice to her. It caused a bout of depression that lasted years.
So what had happened was when she saw what she saw in the basement, Dennis, the caretaker, he comes to her, whatever, she's crying, and he asks what's happened. She tells him, and she drew a picture of what she saw. Now, years later is when somebody goes there and gets the FLIR of the exact same creature, which looks like a spider.
It's creepy.
It's like a spider humanoid creature.
Sorry,
its head is like a circle with like spiky hair, and it's got like elongated arms and legs. And she drew it in front of the stairs. And that same image that somebody caught with the FLIR in the same spot.
Area.
So we bring her in the second day. We talk to her. We interview her, and she says she's willing to come back. She comes back at nighttime with her boyfriend. Now, mind you, he's never experienced any of this before.
But he's definitely heard the stories, right?
Oh, yeah, that's why she wanted to bring him back, but Synchronicity had it. They were actually at the battlefield, like down the road, sightseeing or whatever.
She felt compelled to reach out to Dennis.
They come back. We all go inside the rancher. We're in the basement. We're like, hey, what is going on? Are you a demon? Like, do something.
Prodding a little bit.
Yeah, like, come on. Nothing's going on. So I'm like, all right, let's separate. So we left Dan with Cameron and Dalton. And us 4 went into the woods, and we're walking around and everything. And I mean, it's the woods, man. It's creepy, right?
We were there for 45 minutes. Nothing came of it, but we stopped it. We're like, we have to get back to them, see how they're doing, see if anything's popping off.
So yeah, we go back to them. We asked, did anything happen? They said, not so much.
And mind you, this is still early in the evening on day 2.
So I asked Cameron, would you be willing to go down into the basement and do the Estes method by yourself?
Now, for those who are not aware of what the Estes method is, you are blindfolded, and if you've got soundproof headphones that are sweeping through FM or AM radio channels, either forward or backwards.
So you're hooked up to a spirit box. And what a spirit box does is it plays through the radio waves, and it sweeps through based off of however fast you set it to sweep through. And ghost hunters, what they believe is that spirits can take words that are going through the radio and they create a word or a sentence. So it literally sweeps through multiple stations, and it's like white noise. It's
to put it to something recognizable. Is that what they did in Insidious? They bring the lady and the 2 ghost hunters in. One of them,
yeah,
kind of like he was elaborating. You're blind, you're deaf,
sensory deprivation,
and you've got headphones in that are going. It's flashing
going through the radio.
radio stations.
So you'll hear like Jason Aldean singing.
or an ad.
The reason why we do the SS method, if you're playing it in a room, if I turn it on right now, right, you're going to hear something different than what I'm going to hear. Because there's no such thing as ghost hunting equipment, what we do is we kind of take the skepticism out of it. So you have noise canceling headphones. You are blindfolded. You cannot hear anything. You cannot see anything. Your sole job as the receiver is to say what you hear.
You're the tool that something's channeling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's almost like you keep saying synchronicity. It's whatever resounds with you.
Yes.
And to build on that, there is built-in like anti-redundancy. You have the receiver, but then you also have the person that's communicating. So the receiver cannot hear or see what's going on. All they hear is that radio flickering. But then you have the party that's going to be asking questions.
So it's blind. It's entirely blind.
Yes,
You ask
yes.
a question.
You could be asking a question in the same room.
You don't understand
different
what
floor.
the answer is. You're not specifically answering a question.
Yep.
You're just-
Exactly. And that's a way of taking a piece of equipment that is quote unquote used for ghost hunting and literally taking all skepticism out of it. We ask questions on a totally different floor.
Different floor across the building.
So she was by herself. She's got more balls than I do, right? She was on the far end of the basement, facing the wall, a foot away from the wall. The rest of the room is behind her. We're upstairs monitoring her on security cameras, asking questions.
we
And
have
all
one-
she does is say what she hears.
And we do have one person for her safety in case something were to happen at the very top of the stairs. So there's only one person between her and everybody else.
And that person's not asking questions.
No, that person is a safety person.
And
like,
I'm able
she
to-
says a safety word, they come down and interrupt the process.
And I'm able to hear what's going on because I'm listening to the security camera. So we're asking questions. We're not really getting anything.
Because it seems like the margin for error for that would be astronomical.
Like you could ask a question like, what's your name? And you say blue.
You'd have to extrapolate a lot. From that to get an
Exactly.
answer.
Exactly.
You're literally just spitting out what you hear.
So we're asking questions, not really getting a lot of answers. But she's like, man, something touched my shoulder. Are you okay? Are you okay? Yeah, I'm sure. I'm okay. You know, I'll go back. I'll do it. And it happens again. And I'm frustrated, right? I have very high expectations for this place and it's not happening. I look at Clayton and I'm like, what the hell is this thing? And I'm thinking to myself, we were told stories inside the cabin where people have seen a goat man. They've heard pig squeals. And then you have the spider being, right? I'm very well versed when it comes to paranormal stuff. There's a whole lot about this thing that just don't really point to one thing. And so it just triggers in my head and I'm like, what if it's a witch? That would make total sense. When you slit your wrists and you're bleeding yourself out, that's very ritualistic. If you're trying to kill yourself,
That's to evoke a response.
cut your
very
neck.
specific response.
Don't cut your wrist. Don't bleed out, right?
This is almost a torturous act.
The guy claimed when he murdered his sister that he was high on cocaine. Cocaine does not do that to you. He raped and murdered his flesh and blood sister. So we've got somebody who slit their wrists inside the cabin, very ritualistic. You've got the guy who raped and murdered his sister inside the rancher. And then you've got the pig squeal, the goat man. What it's doing is, because it's dead, it's using other people to do its bidding. The 43-year anniversary, that anniversary is a day that it's heightened to perform a ritual. Now, we were told when we first got there that before the cabin was built, before the rancher was built, basically there was a house that stretched from the middle of the cabin to the middle of the rancher. That family was the Curry family. During the Civil War, their property had gotten damaged. She basically told them, hey, you need to fix my property. And she was very snarky about it. And basically they told her, fuck off. And what she said was, and I'm going to get this out of context, I wish nothing but the worst for the war. And I hope that it opens up a hole and swallows it whole.
Hole to hell and swallows you all.
Basically. And so putting all this stuff together, start thinking, what if she was the one who used the 400 men who were slaughtered in the woods? So I asked the question, did you use those 400 men? Did you use their blood to your advantage? And Cameron, who is downstairs, who does not hear what I'm saying, says, I didn't think that.
And that's where the sarcastic comments start. The dismissive answers
To you.
What's your age? How old are you? Completely dismissive.
And it was answering. It all made sense, man. And so I came to the conclusion post-production that the Curry family, the woman, used those 400 men, did black magic, died. Let's take the Native American aspect out of it and just let's talk about what a skinwalker is.
Oh, yes. Do it.
What a skinwalker is somebody who was a witch in life, who did black magic. When they die, they're like buried with like some type of felt from some type of animal. And that's what they come back as, right? It's basically a witch that did black magic that when she died, she comes back as a skinwalker. So when we took her out and we brought her upstairs, of course, Dan was like, hey, I want to go down there. And it's the same thing. We're getting similar responses. Clayton's like, hey, I want to go down there. Now, this is where things get a little weird. Clayton goes down there. Cameron starts asking questions. So when she would ask a question like, why are you only affecting women? Shut up, bitch. It just cussed at me. And then Bullard's like, don't you cuss at anybody in this house. Everyone here is together, not you. This is all filmed. There's a 3-part episode on Paraflix.com, Project Paranormal Show. The weird thing is Clayton's downstairs, right? I'm upstairs and I start getting a pain in my stomach. And like, I'm talking to Travis and I'm like, bro, my stomach's hurting. Like, where are your kidneys at? Like,
I was like, I think it's your spleen.
Yeah, like I'm over here like struggling, right? And I'm on the floor. Disclaimer, I had a firearm on me because I was told that there's animals on the property. It just so happened that when Dan got done with the Estes method, we had walked outside. I got my firearm and Clay was like, hey, I actually want to go do the Estes method in the rancher. So I had the firearm on me. I never had intentions to bring it with me inside the rancher.
This is fucking crazy.
So while Clayton's down in the basement, I'm upstairs with Dalton and Travis.
This is fucking crazy.
I'm laying down and I'm in pain. And Clayton keeps saying, upstairs, I need him. And everyone's like, who do you need? I need him upstairs. Why do you need him? Who do you need? I need him. And then the ovulus says, gun. And I jump up, and that's exactly what Travis said.
Fuck out.
That's exactly what Travis said. Travis said, get out, get the fuck out.
Yep. I don't want you on this. I don't want you in this house. I want you in this property.
That's the first thing we said. Get the fuck out of this house right now. You have
Hurl
a
it
gun.
in the fucking woods.
You need to leave.
Get it the oh god.
And then Clayton says, get ready. It's coming.
Oh, yeah.
Curse.
Here it comes.
And Bullard's like, nope, you're done. I've never gone anywhere and had such direct answers.
Like, I have zero doubt in my mind what we were dealing with was a witch.
Yeah.
I was completely skeptical when we got into this. Completely skeptical. A witch? Are you fucking kidding me? No. When we were there and we were going through and he was breaking it down, it made fucking sense. And as soon as we labeled it a witch, it 180 degreed. It's just like, oh, you know what I am? Fuck you.
And I mean, we're calm, we're cool, we're collected. And it went from 0 to 100 real fast. We were all inside the room observing the surveillance cameras, and he walks down to the kitchen where the stairs were, and he was like, Matt, come here, because I don't want to be alone. So I walk over there with him, and I'm holding the ovulus and everything.
I'm not the type that is afraid to be alone.
So he's like, let's go down the stairs a little bit. Let's sit halfway. And I told him, this doesn't feel right, man. This doesn't feel right. We need to leave. He's like, no, we're fine. We're fine. And the ovulus says, leave. And he's like, F this bitch. What is she going to do? You know, she can't do nothing. And we were walking away, and as soon as we got into the kitchen, boom, on the stairs.
A heavy boot stomp.
Like fucking clockwork.
I'm just going to come out and say it, folks. This is my favorite episode of the show thus far. Like, I became a fan of my own show editing this episode. But I know both Matts and Travis must be scratching their heads looking at the episode length because our recording session was well over 3 hours long. And the reason for that is a lot of the details that are left out are better told on the Project Paranormal show on Paraflix Paranormal Plus. I watched their Cabin in the Woods trilogy covering the previous story, and it is what I see in my head each time I listen to my own episode. Honestly, the footage is chilling, and if you don't believe in ghosts or spirits or the supernatural by the end of this episode, you need to go check out Project Paranormal on Paraflix Paranormal Plus. But while the previous story is something that was covered on the show, what happens next is completely exclusive to the HHP. Let's get back to it.
So it was time to move on to the next step.
When we left Dan and Cameron and Dalton in the house and we all went into the woods and we attempted the CE5, we didn't get all the way through it. We went back inside the rancher and we were like, hey, let's do the Estes method. And after we do the Estes method, is everybody down to do the CE5? And everybody said, yeah.
I found the CE5 protocol some years ago, and I brought it up to the boys, Project Paranormal. I was like, look, I think there's some kind of parallel between aliens and ghosts. Ghosts are an expression of consciousness, and aliens are consciousness. And I feel like somehow, some way, shape, or form, they coexist on the same plane. And it's not uncommon to go to a place that's haunted to have some stories of aliens.
Cold Case Western Australia is a new true crime podcast series produced on behalf of the WA Police Force Special Crime Squad. The series examines unsolved homicide cases, some dating back several decades, in the world's largest policing jurisdiction. You'll hear new case details and insights from the investigating detectives and forensic experts. There are now $1 million rewards attached to each unsolved homicide in Western Australia. You can listen to Cold Case Western Australia wherever you get your podcasts or by visiting the WA Police Force website.
So imagine going from The Witch, everyone's at a heightened state.
I was on edge. I had the worst anxiety of my life. I was like living in a state of panic.
Not in a prime place to perform.
Not in a prime place to perform. I was very scared.
And we're like, damn, we forgot chairs. So half the people leave to go get the chairs. The half that's stuck in the woods is me, Dalton, Cameron, Travis, and Bullard. We're in the woods. We're waiting for everybody. Cameron's like, I think I see something in the woods. What does the Ovilus say? Figure. And then, what does my old Ovilus say?
15-year-old Ovilus.
Sky. And Bullard's like, I'm not doing this shit. Fuck this. They come back and we sit in the circle and we're like, hey, before we do the CE5, let's do another Estes method in the woods. See if we can't contact the witch again.
And Clayton is now the one doing the Estes.
Yeah,
exactly.
He's the only one that
Clayton is the receiver in this
he's the
sick
receiver.
circumstance.
And we're like, is there anybody out in the woods? And Clayton said something along the lines like,
look up.
he was like, up, down. And then he says, satellite. And then Cameron was like, did anything follow us from the rancher out into the woods? And Clayton said, you bet, following.
This is where coincidence starts breaking down.
The next step was to close out the night doing the CE5 protocol,
Now-
which we had never done before.
It is a protocol that was developed by Dr. Stephen Greer. Close encounters of the fifth kind. First kind is just seeing it out in the sky. Fifth kind is
Communication.
direct communication. On our way to the circle in the middle of the woods, I had an unrelenting assault of anxiety. But the CE5 has been reiterated by Dr. Stephen Greer. Like, look, I know it's hard to understand. I know it's hard to believe, but they're not here to hurt us.
Because it'd be too easy.
The way the CE5
It'd be
works,
too fucking easy.
Exactly.
Think about it. If you're a species that's been around for 1,500,000 years, you have the technology to wipe monkeys off the face of a fucking planet.
The way he says it is that when you have interaction with them, whatever fear you have, they alleviate that fear when they come in contact. Dr. Stephen Greer was a wealthy man. He had everything going for him.
And he threw it all away for this. What it does is you have to get yourself centered and imagine where you are on the globe. And then you want to zoom out slowly to show in our minds where we are. It's about a 45-minute process.
You should use like a walkie-talkie, right? And like hold it because it's supposed to send the signal out. And then you're just supposed to meditate on this sound.
During the quiet kind of meditative state, you want to sit there and put your intentions out. Intentions are like, do I want to see a UFO?
So you see a lot of two-dimensional beings. They'll be very like hologram looking. They'll come in 3D, go back to 2D very quickly, in and out, in and out. Like there's been pictures and photographs taken of these weird light beings and stuff like that.
So
Keep in mind, these are all subjective.
Sure, you can.
This is not for everybody.
If you believe in this, his interaction may be totally different than my interaction.
you're primed
congregate.
as a beacon.
Exactly. You can congregate with your people. They have cameras out. People are taking pictures, stuff like that. And basically, the way we did it was wrong. So we did it in a wooded area, kind of in a populated area where the highway was. You're supposed to do it in the middle of nowhere, kind of in an open field where you can see what's going on. But after you do the CE5 protocol, you're supposed to spend hours out there observing the sky. And 3 days later, me and Travis did see orbs in the sky.
When we were finished doing this CE5 protocol, nothing in the moment happened. I have a subjective time loss. What felt like multiple hours was only an hour. When we were walking out of the woods, and I was in Zen mode, more calm than I've ever been.
When you guys had mentioned earlier that whenever somebody supposedly connects with alien consciousness, you get this state of calm. That's exactly what you're alluding to.
Serenity.
But what I thought of when you said that is think of how a veterinarian will act with an animal in the wild. They need to sedate. And I thought of almost that being a micro version of the macro that would be soothing a consciousness.
It really
so you can
could.
connect to it.
It's an excellent analogy because I truly do believe that aliens are masters of consciousness.
So after we do the CE5, we all come back, and me and Travis have an experience where we both see balls of light move and then disappear.
Within a week later.
Both of them are driving.
But what happened to you was totally different.
When we're done with the CE5 protocol, I'm walking out of the same woods completely calm.
All the anxiety was just washed
Everything was
from
just
you.
gone completely. I felt like a new person, and I didn't really understand that. A couple of days go by. I'm back at work. I have a very ridiculous work schedule. I start my days at 12 in the afternoon and I end them whenever they end. This particular day ended very late, and it was about 3 days after this investigation in the cabin on 360. It was about 4 o'clock in the morning. I am on my iPad typing up an invoice and just recollecting what I did for my job. I'm not sure if you've ever experienced this, but when you're really tired and you just say something completely outlandish, it's almost like a hallucination.
Well, when you're actually really, really sleepy, it mimics the effects of schizophrenia.
Exactly. So it's 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm typing on my iPad the invoice of the work day that I just had. Very long day, very tired. My significant other is asleep. My son is asleep. I kind of set my iPad down just momentarily to just take a break, just to let my brain breathe. And in that moment, let me ask you this. If I say the name Gilbert Gottfried, can you hear his voice?
Absolutely, right in my head.
You can hear Iago.
The most distinct voice in comedy.
Exactly. If I say Robin Williams, you know who the fuck I'm talking
Morgan
about.
Precisely.
If I say Morgan Freeman, you know who I'm talking about. You can instantly imagine their voice.
It's instantaneous.
Instantaneous. Okay. So I'm typing up this invoice. I set my iPad down just to rest my brain for a second. Literally just a second. And in this second, in my head, I hear you called for us. I'm laying in bed and I'm like, what the fuck was that? So it was almost like I was too tired. I was hallucinating. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm ready to go to sleep. Okay. I'm not thinking clearly. So 20 minutes, 25 minutes goes by. I'm continuing to type up my invoice, tapping away on my iPad. And a second, completely different voice comes through and says, the one in the sleeping shorts. I was wearing basketball shorts just for sleeping.
Yeah, your casual wear.
You called for us. And then in a completely different tone. And
Like someone's on the phone, they
Yes.
called you and they're like, is this thing on? You the one in the sleeping shorts.
The one in the
we call
sleeping
it.
shorts.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You wanted to talk? Ooh.
It fucked me up so bad, dude. Because it wasn't a voice that I imagined. I'm working. I'm not thinking about what I did days earlier. And this just, the one in the sleeping shorts. You called for us. It's like Robin Williams and Gilbert Gottfried are fucking talking to me in my head.
And of course, when he brings it up, that's when me and Travis are like, we saw balls of light.
The same time frame. And this is days after we did the CE5 protocol. The CE5 protocol is close encounters of the fifth kind, which is personal contact with extraterrestrial beings.
What I would say what we saw is kind of what we asked for. Because I know for a fact that that's exactly what my intent was to
my
see
intent
a
was-
ball of light that was quick, without a shadow of a doubt. That's what it was. And
My
I knew
intent-
that it
And your
wasn't a
intent
shooting
was to
star.
directly
No.
communicate.
No.
We don't.
No.
That's
I just wanted to see a light in the sky just like everybody else.
But that's what's in your mind. He might have thought something totally different. You know what
But
I
I
mean?
didn't.
Maybe that's what you feared most.
Probably.
But
That's what would have gotten his attention versus mine and Travis's.
I think that's what he was alluding to was the personal contact. The fact that I was afraid.
They did it a less malicious way of saying like, hey, we're just going to talk to you in your head.
yeah.
I don't even like telling the story because I feel like a crazy person. I really do.
Was there anything past that?
No.
No.
There's not been a single fucking thing since.
Well, I will say when I'm really tired and I used to work nights, so I know what it's like to be up for maybe 25 hours in a row. And
That's what I do almost daily.
yeah, it's fucking rough. So as I'm going to bed, it's almost like multiple TV shows are playing in my head.
Yeah.
It's not related to me at all. It's like people are talking and it's like it's flicking through channels. It's just my tired brain.
Yeah.
Like people are having conversations. It's not like an internal dialogue thing.
Absolutely.
It's just,
I understand what you're saying.
But
what
to
I
have such a
experienced was
clear-
such a different fucking thing.
that
Like,
seems very targeted.
it freaks me out just to even conceptualize because
Because
it
you
was
can't
so
hide from
personal.
something like that.
No, you can't.
Because if it's happening inside of like your consciousness, like
And this thing came to me.
Yeah. It sounds weird and it sounds like almost unbelievable as we explain it.
And that's where the
But
coincidence.
once you experience
gets
it, I'm
broken down.
telling you, bro, your mind will be blown.
next time on Spooky Show.
I would jump out of my bed in the middle of the night screaming from a dead sleep, screaming because of these nightmares. I'm not even kidding you, for a year.
Now those were some frightfully fun stories. Howdy everybody, it's me, your host Danny, and I wanted to let you in on something special. You might have noticed that when I introduce the show, I say we are the Hometown Horrors podcast. That's because there will always be at least 3 people in each episode. Me, the person who wants to hear a good story, the guest, the teller of a good story, and you, the listener, that takes that story and carries it with you out into the world. And we make up a special kind of trinity. We are the Hometown Horrors podcast. And if you ever want to graduate from listener to guest, reach out to us via our handle on Instagram, hometown_horrors_podcast. Our email is thehometownhorrorspodcast, no spaces, @gmail.com, or via text or phone call at 571-358-8880, which FYI is not my personal number, but give it a ring. I'll get back to you, because if there's anything I've learned from doing the podcast is that everybody has a story, and that story deserves to be heard. On your number one source for the most spine-tingling, gut-wrenching, insomnia-inducing stories around, the Hometown Horrors Podcast.